Welcome to Glitch Cube, we're a gaming podcast, and each week we take a deeper look into the art of video games. I'm Christian.
I'm Christoph.
Well, welcome, Christoph. You're new to the show, ain't you?
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome. Enjoy your time here. But yeah. All right, so before we jump into things here, welcome back to another fun-filled week of gaming, art, feels, all of that good stuff. Is there anything that you would like to plug, Sir Christoph?
Honestly, I've just been busy with work and playing games. I'm honestly just playing through Grandia still, and I gotta say, this game feels so different from a normal RPG, even though, it's got all the same tropes, but being an adventurer, like exploring this like new part of the world that not many people have gone to, it's weird. Like I'm feeling this like childlike excitement through this game. It's really weird, but I'm fucking loving it. And yeah, I don't know how I slept on this game for so long, but it's surprising me. I'm having so much fun with it that I'm actually ignoring a lot of things that I should be doing. But yeah, aside from that, nothing really. I just been trying to keep up with like E3 and Game Fest and what might come out and stuff like that. I don't know. I think this E3 Game Fest is going to be more interesting than last year. So I'm excited. A lot of things are going everywhere.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun one, that's for sure. It's the big time of the year, right? It's what everyone's waiting for.
Exactly. The fun time.
Yeah.
What about you? What you got?
Yeah, surprisingly, this week, it hasn't really been very eventful as far as like gaming or things like that. One big update, though, as of right now, today, we have updated our Patreon page for you guys. So if you really enjoy what you're hearing and you want to help support us further so that we can continue to make content for you and even make more content that we have lined up, but we just don't have the time to do it yet, please head on over to our Patreon page, show some love, show some support, and there's some little special things in there that we added in. So I hope you guys enjoy it. But I do want to say thank you and show some love out there to all the content creators out there, all the YouTubers, the Twitch streamers, all you guys for all of the work that you guys are putting into making some amazing gameplay footage for us, because for people like me who, I work full time, it's hard to get in and play a game sometimes. So thank you for just going through every title that I find interesting and giving me a little insight on what that game is and making me feel like I've actually played it. All right, so here we go. We're jumping into today's episode, and today we are continuing on with this kind of trend that we're going on this month, and we're going to be taking a deeper look at gaming culture as a whole and kind of seeing where it's come from and where it's going to. It might even speculate into the future of gaming itself. And yeah, gaming culture has changed so much over this short period of time that it's been around. Like, we have to really remember that this art form hasn't been around that long. It's only been really strong for 30, 40 years, right? Like, as far as mainstream gaming goes. And that's not a very long time for something to evolve as much as it has. But since it is tied into technology, it's no surprise that what we've seen now compared to what we had in the past is just insane. And it's so much fun to look back at how things were marketed, what kind of games people are playing to what people are doing nowadays. So what's your take on the evolution of gaming culture? What's some sort of highlight that you really enjoyed throughout the time? Or, just what's your general thoughts?
I think for me, it's really interesting how accepting playing games is nowadays. I mean, growing up, I remember, maybe because I hung around people that, because I would go to Pokemon card games every weekend, right? That's how I kind of made my friends back then. They obviously all played games, so it was easy to find people like-minded. But anytime I stepped out of that and tried to talk to people, people would look at me weird because I played games, or they'd think I'm like a basement dweller or something like that, or like, oh, you don't go outside, you just play games. Like, what? That's weird. What's wrong with you? You know? And for me, like, I don't know, even in high school, like, I remember right around like sophomore year, somewhere like around there, like World of Warcraft got big. And I remember like a lot of people were getting into it in my school. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. There's all these people that play games. I thought not many other people played them, you know?
Right.
And it was cool meeting people that had the same interests as I did, because, I mean, you didn't have Reddit. You didn't have a lot of big places to go to talk to people about games. You know, you had GameFAQs and you had a few other websites, but it's not like you can go and meet up with like a gamer group or nothing like that. And I think it's interesting, all the tools and communities that are out there now to meet people like-minded. And it's like, you know, people don't make fun of you for playing games anymore. I mean, yeah, you might get that one guy that like makes fun of you, but I mean, nowadays almost anybody has at least played one game or plays something, you know, even if they play Madden, I mean, they're still playing a game.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the amazing part about it too, is the fact that how much more, like you said, much more accepting gaming has now become, where even like we have a whole like subset of gamers now, like casual gamers, right? Like for
Mm-hmm.
things like Candy Crush or whatnot. Like everybody has a game that they have played and enjoyed. And it's just nuts that we have so many different genres, so many different types of things out there for just about everybody in every situation. And yeah, it's crazy. And I think that one of the biggest things that surprises me is like it's gone from such a like single player mentality. This is your story, you know, like you're playing at an arcade cabinet by yourself, or right, like all, games were originally for like your personal entertainment, and now they've expanded into such a wider audience where they're getting communities involved while playing. And just like, I mean, even look at that one series when like Twitch played Pokemon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like that was crazy. It's an entire community playing this single player game, and it's weird to like think about, but it worked, and it was really fun to watch that, and really exciting to see what people kind of decided. Of course, some of it was for the goofs, but you know, why not have some fun while you're doing these kind of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what really fascinates me. And, you know, like I remember going to my uncle's house when I was younger. This is an uncle from my mother's side. And he would have like multiple computers set up in his basement to play like Quake, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you'd have like LAN parties and all that stuff. And it felt like something that you would hide, like that it was in a basement, right? Like it felt like something that wouldn't be a part of like the main family stay, right? But
Yeah.
now it would be weird to not see a gaming console in the living room, or like having a session of like playing games with your family. I know that whenever we get together with my family, we would play Mario Kart all the time, or Smash Brothers, or something like that, and you know, pass the controller along, and it became more of like a social event between the entire family rather than just a single player, like just you alone doing your thing. And it's fun to see where that's going, and it's just it seems like it's continuing to grow along that road.
Yeah. I mean, going by what you said, you know, you think about, like, I watch a lot of like retro stuff. So, like, a lot of like Retronauts and all that. And like looking back, thinking about, you know, the 80s, right? Like Atari just came out, it was the new thing. And you have to think, like, back then, the console's main focus was, can we bring these games from arcades home?
Right.
And of course, families said yes, because it saves them money on quarters, all that kind of stuff. 90s hit, you have Nintendo, the Genesis, and people are getting these consoles because now they can really play together as like a family, you know? I mean, obviously the Famicom, family computer, it makes sense because families can get together and have fun. Then we hit, you know, the start of the modern era with the PS2, Xbox, where it has DVD functionality with it. So now it is not only a game console, it's a DVD player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when it really started pulling in, even though you may not think it, it pulled in all these people that don't really play games, because people were buying these things because they were cheaper than a Blu-ray player.
Yeah, that's nuts to think about.
And I think that's really what started bringing non-gamers into it. We're having these multimedia centers. And then once, you get your more modern stuff where has Netflix, all that, a lot of people still don't have smart TVs. So they use these consoles for, their streaming services. I mean, some people probably use it for the browser because they don't have a computer. I mean, bless their soul for using a controller instead of a mouse to browse the internet, but
you do
whatever
what you
works.
do, right?
Exactly. And I think that really helped first bridge that gap of people coming in. And I think along with that, you do see the evolution in games where it's more broad and more cinematic as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see these 80-hour games like we did like on the PlayStation era anymore. Like most games now are, unless it's like an RPG centered to that, most games are like under 20 hours for the most part. So people busy can play games.
Yeah, that's true. They're a lot more simpler in nature, at least. And it's funny that you mentioned too, like with the Blu-ray player stuff. I mean, like my fiance, she isn't really a gamer. She only had like one game whenever I met her, and it was Uncharted. But she had a PS3, and she used it for exactly what you said. She used it to watch Netflix, to watch Blu-rays. It was her. It was her media center. It wasn't a gaming like console, right? And it's exactly what you said. It was accessibility. It was so much cheaper than just buying a Blu-ray player. And even whenever Blu-ray players became around the same price, you still got way more bang for your buck buying a gaming console, because not like you can do way more with it. You can search the internet, you can play games if you actually wanted to, or if you had like a family member, or whenever her nieces and nephews would hang out, she would let them play games on it right there, right? So it was you had more options that way. So it just made much more sense, and it got more and more people involved with playing games, and not just playing games, but watching them being played as well, right? Like I remember actually, it was pretty funny. I was playing God of War 3, I think, at one point, and my stepmom was sitting on the couch, and she's watching me play this game. And like I'm just going through, and she's watching all the cutscenes, and just she was there for probably like an hour, honestly. And then out of nowhere, she turns to me and she goes, "Hey, what movie is this?" And I went, "What?" And I paused the game, and she's like, "Wait, you're playing a game?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Holy shit. Like, I thought you were just watching some crazy ass movie because of how cinematic it was." Like, because those cutscenes were insane, and they did a good thing with like integrating the active time buttons into the actual battle system, so it didn't take you away from the cinematography of the game. And right then and there, it just blew my mind that I was like, okay, like games are different now. Like this is hugely, hugely different. Like if she happened to sit down and was watching me play Mario, she would automatically know like, oh, you're playing a game. Right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been like, she wouldn't have even thought that like, oh, I'm going to watch this crazy movie about Greek, mythology real quick, which is what she thought she was doing, which is insane to think about. But it's super funny to like run into that instance. So,
I mean, you bring up a good point, like with the whole watching like another person play. And you have to think, now that games are more cinematic, people's lives are busy. I mean, that's why YouTube, Twitch got so big, because, I mean, if the game's good and interesting, for the most part, people will just watch it because it seems like a movie, And I mean, for the longest time, personally, I didn't like watching Let's Plays. I didn't, I remember like when Twitch was just in TV, and I would watch it just for like shits and giggles. But for me, I was a person, I'd rather play the game than watch someone else,
Mm-hmm.
But as life got busy, I started realizing like, hey, it's actually kind of nice watching someone play these games where if I end up not liking a game, then what? I wasted all these hours playing it. I could just watch someone play a game while I play a game that I like.
Yeah.
And it's like two birds, one stone.
Yeah.
And I think with the whole streaming, it's really changed the dynamic of games. Like, a lot of people probably don't see it that way, but I mean, I feel like that is one half of the big reason why games are so movie like or cinematic. And I feel like the other half is to bring those non-gamers into that market. And I mean, you look at Sony and that's kind of their spiel. It's like, make games seem like a movie, bring in all these people. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's smart.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, like, to this day, like you mentioned, at first I didn't really want to watch like long plays of games because I felt like, well, why am I not just playing the game, right?
Yeah.
And I started out watching just little simple let's plays, like little like goof arounds, like with Achievement Hunter and all those guys. And I enjoyed watching those let's plays because they were like short little snippets of games. It wasn't like actually watching a full story unfold in front of me. And then now, like, I'm actually really into watching full, like, long plays of games. And to me, I mean, I feel like it helps me out more because, being an adult is hard. I don't have all the time in the world to play these games, but I have time to, like, have it playing in the background or whatnot. And I feel like I'm getting the same experience out of it, right? Like, recently, just yesterday, I finished watching a full playthrough of Resident Evil The Village. And I really want to play that game. It looks fantastic, and eventually I'll probably get to it. But just watching that game, I really, really enjoyed watching it. Like, I felt like I got the same experience as if I played it. I would even go so far as saying, like, it's a fantastic game, even though I've never picked up a controller to play this game. And yeah, sure, it's a different type of Resident Evil. There's some parts that are like super freaking goofy in it where it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever, right? Like, it still looks like it was an enjoyable game. And it's not just because the YouTuber I was watching enjoyed playing it. It was like, I actually enjoyed really watching it. And I was enthralled with just seeing all the little things of him, like exploring every single house, making sure he got all the stuff, because I would do that same exact thing. Like, I felt like I was right there doing all of it with him. And it was really great to watch that kind of stuff. I love it. And like, I really want to shout out one of the a YouTuber out there. His name's Wanderbot. And he makes amazing videos, and he does all this stuff, and he really focuses on like indie game titles. And I think one of the fantastic things he does is like he brings life to the character's dialogue as well, right? And I think that's another big thing when we want to talk about like the evolution of gaming culture, right? Like, is that all these, like, not just the games are evolving, but the people playing the games are evolving too, right? So like with him, for instance, he'll read all the dialogue for you. Like, he'll go through and make sure that you know what the players are saying. He gives the time to the dialogue that was written so you get the full story out of it, which I think is great. But not just that, like, he actually voices the characters too and gives each character their own individual voice to make them more unique. And it's such a like tiny, like, fantastic touch. But when you look at it, these Twitch streamers and the YouTubers are now voice actors as well. And like, that's such a crazy thing. Like, they're not just, like we mentioned previously on a different episode, was that they're not just these like modern day celebrities that you can interact with. They're now voice actors. They're now, reviewers. They're now like curators. They're all of this. They're so much more than just YouTube gamers and content creators.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people really need to kind of keep in the back of their mind when watching these things, to really show support to this, because that is a full-time job 100%. Like, they're editing videos, they're making sure they're up to date with things, they're keeping up with current events, they're bringing they're like increasing their own talents on voice acting, they're doing all this stuff just to give you that much more enjoyment of not just their videos, but the games as well. Like, they're really allowing the games to shine through, and they want you to feel like you're actually there sitting with them playing these games. And one other cool thing I think he does when on par with like the voice acting and all that is his wife, I believe that's his wife. She actually joins him on the videos, and not just the co-op ones, but the single player ones as well, where she'll bring a different side of it cuz she's very like lore focused. And then she also voices all the female characters with him so that you have an even more dynamic range of cast when watching these videos, and just gives it that much more like pure enjoyment. So it's really fun to see, and it's cool to see where like not just gaming, but like let's plays have gone too. Like they're evolving with the medium as well, which is nuts. Hey everybody, just jumping in real quick. Just want to say first of all, thank you for continuing listening, and obviously you're enjoying it because you've reached the middle of our episode. But before we continue on, we just wanted to remind you all that if you are truly enjoying what you're hearing and you want to learn some more about us, you can find us on social medias, and we have links in our description. And you can find me and all the drawings that I'm doing on Instagram at Kieran, and that's Keuran. What about you, Chris?
You can find me at Sloppy Cube on Instagram. That's Sloppy and Cube at the end of it. I do all retro games or just games in general, so if that's your thing, check me out. You can also message me about ideas and anything, because I love talking.
Yep. We both really enjoy talking, obviously, because we are recording a podcast. So if you want to join in the conversation, please reach out to us on the Discord, and let's get right back into this episode.
Oh yeah. I mean, I always enjoy when I see a Let's Player actually voice characters, but you're right, it is funny when it's one guy and he tries to voice like girls in games because they can only do so many pitches. So it's kind of humorous. So that's cool. Like that there's actually like a female voice to it. So it actually does make it more immersed.
Yeah.
Immersive. I guess that's the word. But yeah, I mean that's always something I enjoyed. Like when people actually show they care about it and do it. Like I think that was the main reason why I didn't get into those kind of videos, because people would just glance over dialogue, and then it's like, well, you're not playing for the story. It's like it just feels like you're playing a game because it's a game.
Right.
It
feels like they're playing for the views because it's the new title out.
And I mean, regretfully, that's a big problem. I mean, not problem, but it's a big thing. People, and I mean, a lot of people who are streamers that do that, I mean, they don't really get big because people can read when someone is just doing it for the views, But I was thinking, the big explosion of like what made gaming big, and I know a lot of people hate it, but I was thinking about it last night over this subject. And Fortnite really did bring gaming everywhere in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it. I don't like the game I've played it. I don't care for battle royales in general. So I mean, it doesn't appeal to me in that sense. But I do respect it in the sense that it's gotten so many people into it and interested in playing other games as well. It's granted, I don't have a kid, so I mean, I don't have a kid annoyingly playing it all day and spending all my money on V-Bucks,
right.
But it's, you got to think about, it's this generation's version of what we were excited about, like Halo or Mario 64 or,
Even
just like
Doom back
World of
before
Warcraft,
that.
Doom. It's, that same hype. It's just different now because, I mean, we're so connected. So obviously it's going to blow out of proportion. So all these people mad about it, it's like, it's no different than when we were younger. Probably people older than us were looking at us like, ugh, you're excited for that game? Like Pokemon, like there's probably older people like, ugh, why that game? Like that game's so childish, And I don't know, instead of looking at it negatively, like it's not a game for me. So for me, I'm not going to say it's a bad game. It's just, it's not in my interest. But I'm happy it's brought a lot of people into gaming in general, which more of a crowd, the more ideas get thrown out there and the more interesting games are created.
Yep, 100%.
And I think that's another big thing, is that now that we have such a broad sense of games, it's really, anybody can just play a game that seems remotely interesting to them, and it's a whole different world. It feels like you're watching a movie with every different game you put in.
Yeah, it's just expanding the medium much further, and it's getting it into the hands of many, many more people, right? Like, I mean, even like Fortnite, yeah, it expanded the mediums like astronomically, right? And then now, like before that, if you look at Minecraft blew it up like crazy.
Minecraft was
and it didn't just blow up gaming as a whole. It got children involved in like learning Java and programming and all that stuff too, which is insane to think about. Like, I can't think of another game before that actually got kids to want to learn a trade. Right? Like, that's nuts. That's something crazy to think about, where like the need and the desire to learn Java and computer programming has exploded so much that now it's actually a part of curriculum in schools, right? There's full classes devoted to it for young adults or even just children now, because like that's just it's obvious that that's the way of the future, right? And not just for children and everything like that. Like, I mean, I'm grateful every day when I think about the fact that my degree, I have an accredited bachelor's degree in game design, right? Like, that's crazy to think about. Like, just a few years ago, I would have thought like that's that would never get accredited. There's no way, right? Like, that's such a niche thing. Like, I have to go in and get like a engineering degree rather than something so specialized. But now they have that available to you, where you can actually get degrees in specifically game art or game audio or game design, right? Like, that's really nuts to see that's a possibility now. And that's still very recent and still very new. And like, we're even seeing a bunch of, like, I love reading these things, but like seeing a bunch of books coming out where it's like the psychology of gaming, right? Like that whole like series and subgenre of books coming out now are fascinating. Where like when they go through like the mythology of Zelda, right? Like, it's such cool concepts and really interesting stuff, because if you think about it, like, in these games, they're creating entire worlds. What's different than, the Tolkien universe and all of the, like, the different lineages and the gods and all that, like, being there, opposed to, like, breaking down and looking at all the different gods and stuff like that in a video game that's created, right? They're still telling a story and making a world, just in a different medium now.
Yeah. I mean, it is art, when you think about it. I mean, maybe not the game I Am Mayo or something where you just click on a mayo jar for achievements, but, like, games for the most part now are, like, I mean, they're mostly looked at as art. And, I mean, I see no problem with it. I mean, people put in years of work into some of these games, and, I mean, for the most part, it shows, usually.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It feels like, I mean, this is a pale comparison, but when you think about when like painting took off, Enlightenment, well, before Enlightenment era, but it was crazy. And I mean, I feel like right now we're at the cusp of the 3D revolution, where we're seeing all these different things changing thanks to like ray tracing and higher FPS, and it's only going to get crazier. And now that they're making games more accessible to people with disabilities, and they're making things more with virtual reality that actually have a use, it's crazy. It's gaming in general will be incorporated in most people's lives without them either even knowing about it, or thanks to the early beginnings of gaming, people will be able to live different lives,
Yeah. I mean, the concept of gamifying your life is so ingrained in our culture already, right? And I mean, we've done an entire episode on that, and that's how a lot of people attain goals or even how like you get things done in a workplace, right? Like you create these little tiny contests or competitions between each other to, maybe like boost sales or boost morale in the workplace, and that's all based off of ideas that were founded in gaming, right? Like how like the
Mm-hmm.
ebb and flow of excitement happens, like that's looked at now in different areas of like quality assurance and everything like that. And I think there's one really, really big area that we haven't touched on yet, in which you can definitely see the evolution of gaming culture. And I think it's funny that we haven't even brought it up yet. But what are we doing right now? Right? We're making a podcast about gaming and dissecting the ideas that, these previous game founders and all these titles are doing. And like we're able to talk about it freely and put it out there for the masses who are also interested in these topics to listen to. So the fact that we can have a radio show basically just centered around gaming itself shows how much this art form has evolved and changed over the years and just expanded into something that no one would have ever thought that it could have been, right? Like that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and like you said earlier, this medium hasn't been around that long either. It's crazy how much it's exploded.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to see where it goes to in the future as well, because now like we're seeing so many more like different ideas coming out of games because they're expanding the medium even further than what we could possibly imagine. I mean, you mentioned it too, where it's like, looking back at painting, right? And the whole idea of what is art that was
Mm-hmm.
challenged at such like an early period of it. And like we're seeing it now where like people are saying like, oh, what is a game? Like you mentioned, like, IMAO, right? Like, is that even a game? Well, yes, it is, right? So you're starting to see a lot of people like, I mean, there's a famous artist from back in the day. His name was Man Ray, and he was one of the artists that really pushed the idea of what is art, right? And then also like
Mm-hmm.
Marcel Duchamp as well. Like I've talked about him previously on the podcast too, but like he was also another person to really, really push that idea and take that question and go like to the fences with it, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
he even like he put a urinal in a museum and said it's art, right? And all he did was lay it down on the floor and that was it, right? Like, but it's considered a very, very strong art piece, not for the item itself, but for the content and the message that it brings. Because it's so
Yeah.
true. Who's to say what art is really? And who's to say what a game is really? Like, sure, there's certain components to a game or an art piece that you kind of feel need to be there, but when someone breaks the mold and it still is enjoyable or still brings something or sparks an emotion, an idea, or whatever it may be, it still is that art form. It pushes that boundary and it changes our own perspective on what things can be. Like we're no longer just running to the right of the screen and jumping on things' heads and trying to collect flags or save princesses anymore, right? We're now like negotiating space treaties or, going through and living someone's experience of coming out of the closet or, like dealing with depression or mental disorders or just, right? Like there's so much more out there now that this medium has given us. And it's just amazing, amazing to see. And when those games were first coming out, like, sure, there are some people who might not consider that a game, but it's
Yeah.
just not their game, right? Like maybe they want more of
Exactly.
the FPS shooters, they want more Halo, they want more like, interaction like that. They want more grit, more excitement, more raw. But having games that help us deal with these emotions and look deeper into our own minds and kind of question who we are as a person, or even put us in situations that we might not come across on our day to day lives so we can gain a better understanding of someone else's life. is amazing, and it's just as valid as a game as any other titles out there, right?
Yeah, I mean, what you just said, so after that episode we did about short games and how much you praised it, I played through
Oh,
Journey
you did? Oh, yay.
and I beat
Nice.
it. I kept meaning to bring this up, but I never really had a chance. But I played it, and at first I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like, it actually is a really big world. And, I actually ended up really enjoying it to the point where I found almost all the little, like, those little things you collect to make your scarf bigger. Like, I think I ended up missing 2 the whole time. And at first I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It doesn't really tell you anything. But as I paid more attention to it, I was like, wow, like, this is really good. You can tell it was, in my opinion, the kind of beginning of these kind of artsy I don't want to say high IQ, but it's more of these like let it breathe kind of games that I remember when this came out, nothing really existed like it before. Or if it did, it didn't get the praise or attention that that game got. Because I remember always hearing about this game, but I never got into it because I'm like, oh, it seems kind of boring. Even though I like these kind of games normally, it just seemed boring to me. But after playing, I'm like, wow, this was really good. Like, not just like looking as an artsy game, but the way the environment reacts to you and how you interact with it. I was like really blown away thinking that, this existed back on the PS3 era. Like, it's crazy, and I think once we started realizing like those kind of games got bigger, that's when we started seeing more people treat this in a more serious tone. And I mean, we've got some great games from that kind of tone.
Yeah. I'm curious how that ending hit you. That struggle up that mountain. Ugh.
It was interesting. I was really surprised how they really made it feel like it was really heavy. It didn't hit me as like super emotionally, but I was like, whoa, like this is. It really had a meaning, and it made you really feel like the character in it. Like I was surprised. I wasn't expecting that from the game, honestly. Yeah. But I really liked it. I'm glad I finally checked it out.
Yeah, I'm happy that you actually had the time to play it, because to me it's one of those that like when I first played it, I was like, wow, that was great. That was really fun, really enjoyable. But now that I've like looked back on it further and further, right, over the years, and I keep remembering it, and I've actually like written, papers on it, right? Like, and really like dissecting that title. It's like you said, it's that game that probably I would say like, started this whole like Renaissance era of like this new style of games. And I like that phrase that you said, the let it breathe kind of game, right? I think that's such a good term for some of these newer like indie style games, and that's so perfect for like a game like Journey, where it doesn't just spoon feed you the story and the lore of the world, right? Like it gives you situations you can go and find out what happened in the world, but it feels more real that way, right? Like if you're just dropped into an area, you're not gonna like get tooltips coming up where it's like, oh, there was a great battle here, and like everything got destroyed by the people before you, and right, like you don't get that background, but like you learn it by exploring and growing, not only as a player but as a person, right? Like you learn about the world around you by experiencing the world, and I think that's such a perfect term. Oh, I love that. Like let it breathe games. Like that's so good. I really, really like that.
I thought about that because, I mean, I don't want to sound like a hipster, but I really enjoy like foreign films.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that's different with foreign films is they let scenes breathe, right? Or even like David Lynch kind of shows and movies. They always let scenes breathe. Ingrid Bergman, a lot of just foreign films in general do that, where they just let a scene sit there to make you think about either what's happening or to get lost in the scenery. And I realized like, oh, it's making me more in touch with what I'm watching. It makes me more feel like I'm there. So when I played Journey, I was like, oh my God, it's doing the same thing. It makes you really feel connected. And like you said, you don't have to have this lore thrown at your face. Like, you explore it on your own and you get the actual feeling like, wow, there was a civilization here at one point and now it's not. Like, it was more meaningful that way. And I mean, a lot of games have tried to do things like that and didn't really pull it off that well, but it's still a move in the right direction. And I always enjoy when games have that little breathing room for scenes.
Yeah, I agree.
Not just all action in your face. Like, I don't need a Michael Bay film for a game. Like, just explosions everywhere all the time.
Yeah,
you know,
what was that one game, like Bulletstorm or whatever the hell it was?
Oh God, Bulletstorm was
It's
great.
a great game, but oh my gosh, is that exhausting? But
Yeah.
but those are games like you definitely need time to dissect what is going on around you, right? Like I feel like that's so important. But I mean, that's mainly important if you're trying to tell a story or convey a message, right? Like, yeah, sure, you can have a game out there like Bulletstorm where it's just like go, 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 like just or no time to explain, right? Where it just you jump into the action, and it's like, oh shit, like what's going on? Don't worry about it, go, right? But that's a different vibe that you're trying to set up, and that's just a different genre. Just like we have various different genres of movies, of art, of novels, all of that. That's just a different type of genre, a different type of game. So that's great. I mean, I'm gonna remember that phrase for a while now. So thank you for sharing that because that's awesome.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I feel like I've gotten really picky with my games lately in regards to story. Like, after playing Nier and then going to Metopia, I was like, oh, this is a lot more simple. And then jumping the Journey right after, I was like, whoa, like it was that same sensation I got from Nier, just differently. And I was like, wow, like, okay, like it's cool when you like stumble upon a game with a more, I don't want to say serious tone, but more ambitious, I guess you could say. It's nice. I'm really starting to enjoy these kind of games a lot more.
Well, we've definitely have touched on a lot of the different ways that gaming culture has evolved over the years, and I think I speak for both of us when I say we're very excited to see how much further this medium is going to go and continue to grow in the near future. And I mean, we're along for the ride, right? And just see what happens after all that. But we just want to say thank you very much once again for listening this week. I hope you enjoyed it. And before we sign off here, I just want to touch bases again and let you guys know that our Patreon is live. It is updated. And if you really enjoy what you hear and you want to help support us even more, go ahead and click the links in the show notes so that you can navigate your way to the Patreon page. Or if you want, it's just patreon.com/glitchcube to find us and show a little bit of love and support our way so we can continue making content for you and make even more content in the future. And who knows, maybe we'll even have some new shows and things out there for you guys to enjoy and watch and listen. All the above. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys once again. That's going to do it for us. And bye.
Bye.